Enthalpy is a way to measure and understand the energy changes that happen in a system. It helps us see how much heat is involved in a process, like heating or cooling something, or when substances undergo chemical reactions. Think of enthalpy as the total energy content of a system, including both the energy stored in the molecules themselves and the energy associated with any work done by or on the system. For example, imagine you have a cup of hot tea. The enthalpy of the tea includes the energy stored in the tea molecules and also the energy it takes to heat the cup and the air around it. Enthalpy is represented by the symbol H. It's calculated by adding the internal energy of the system, the energy stored in the molecules, to the product of the pressure and volume of the system. Here's the equation for enthalpy. H equals U plus PV. H represents enthalpy, U represents internal energy, P represents pressure, and V represents volume. Enthalpy is useful because it helps us understand and predict how heat flows into or out of a system during different processes. By measuring the change in enthalpy, we can determine the amount of heat transferred. For instance, when you heat up water, the energy you provide as heat is absorbed by the water, increasing its enthalpy. If you cool the water, its enthalpy decreases. Enthalpy is also important in chemical reactions. It helps us understand how much heat is involved when substances react with each other and form new substances. Overall, enthalpy is a way to quantify and analyze the energy changes in thermodynamic processes. It allows us to understand heat and energy transfer better and make predictions about how systems will behave. Here are a few simple examples that illustrate the concept of enthalpy. Melting ice. When you heat a block of ice, it absorbs heat energy. This increase in heat causes the ice to melt and form liquid water. The enthalpy of the system increases as the ice absorbs the heat, resulting in a change in state from solid to liquid. Boiling water. Consider heating a pot of water on a stove. As you supply heat energy to the water, its temperature increases, and eventually, it reaches the boiling point. At this point, the water undergoes a phase transition from a liquid to a gas, steam. The enthalpy of the system increases during this process due to the heat absorbed during the phase change. Combustion of fuel. When you burn a piece of wood or any other fuel, a chemical reaction takes place. The reactants, fuel and oxygen, have a certain enthalpy, while the products, such as carbon dioxide and water, have a different enthalpy. The difference in enthalpy between the reactants and products represents the heat released during the combustion process.